In this session, we'll talk about agitation and mixing. Now, what is agitation and what is mixing? Are they different or the terms are the same? Let's look at the definitions of both. Now, mixing refers to the process to randomly distribute two or more initially separate phases into and through one another. So that's the definition of mixing. On the other hand, agitation refers to the induced motion of a material in a specified way, usually in a circulating pattern, inside some sort of a container, and the purpose of agitation is to keep a mixture in the proper mixed state. Meaning that when we already have a mixture, the purpose of agitation is to keep the mixture in their mixed state. So in an industrial setting, agitation and mixing can be used for different purposes. For example, to blend two miscible solid. For example, when ethanol and water are to be blended together, we use the mixing process to have them mixed together. To dissolve a solid in liquid, we use the mixing process. For example, to dissolve salt in water. For many processes, we may need to disperse a gas in a liquid in the form of fine bubbles. For example, for fermentation process, we need some microorganisms, and for the microorganisms to live and do their work, they need oxygen. So this oxygen from air is circulated within the liquid to disperse air in the form of bubbles so that the microorganisms can consume those. The same in the case of the activated sludge process, we need oxygen for the microorganism for the purpose of waste treatment. The oxygen is dispersed through the liquid phase in the form of bubbles. In some cases, for suspending solid particles in a liquid, mixing and agitation process is used. For example, the solid catalytic particles and hydrogen bubbles are dispersed in catalytic hydrogenation of a liquid. Another application is for increasing heat transfer. When a vessel is surrounded by a coil or jacket where the cooling or heating medium is inside the coil or jacket, agitation is used for the fluid inside the vessel to make sure that all parts of the liquid come in contact with the wall to have proper and uniform temperature. Here are some examples of industrial applications of agitation. Paint industry use the agitation process in great details. For pigment suspension, it's used. Also, to maintain the suspension, agitation is used. You might have seen in the paint store when they give you the paint, initially there is a base and they put the pigment in the base and then do agitation for quite a significant amount of time for the pigment to be uniformly distributed and give an uniform color. Also, if you keep a paint for a long time in a store, you may see that at the bottom there are the thicker components, the top there are the less thick components. To have the paint in its proper form, continuous agitation is required, and that's done in the paint industry. In the sugar industry, for starch converter or enzyme conversion, they need to continuously stir the content of the reactor. Similarly, in water treatment, for the lime slacking or converting calcium oxide into calcium hydroxide, they need to use the agitation process. Also, for catalytic hydrogenation and mass transfer between liquid and solid particles, agitation and mixing are used. Now, this topic is covered in different courses, however, from different aspects. For example, in fluid dynamics, the pattern of fluid is the main concern. On the other hand, in heat transfer, effect of liquid motion on heat transfer coefficient is in the focus. For mass transfer, the mass transfer to drops, bubbles and liquid particles, how these take place are the main focus. In this course, we look at the equipment for agitation and mixing and their operating principles. So we'll focus on choice and sizing of equipment, determining the power requirement, which is one of the important element in the operation of a mixing or agitation process, and also we'll discuss about some sort of optimum operating conditions. Now here is a typical agitated vessel. Just on the left you can see I have shown this to show the typical size of an agitated vessel. Operation may be of different sizes ranging from smaller unit to large units. Typically, the mixing equipment are cylindrical with vertical axis. So you can see here you have a main vessel and then an agitator, and this is the main component here, which is the impeller. And here on is the feed line. So there is a cooling system there. There are baffles and the motor is there to drive the impeller. So usually the vessel is closed at the top, but sometimes it may be open to air if the system needs air. Bottom is rounded, not flat. This is to eliminate sharp corners or regions into which fluid current could not penetrate. In that case, there will be deposition of solid in the corners. So that's why typically the bottom is rounded. In typical design, liquid depth is equal to the diameter of the tank. And the impeller is mounted on an overhang shaft which is driven by a motor. And baffles are used to reduce the tangential motion. There are other accessories in the equipment. For example, the inlet and outlet lines, coils, jackets, and wells for sensor. If you need to measure concentration or temperature, or there are wells for those sensors. The main component of an agitation vessel is the impeller, and the vessels differ based on the type of impeller used for a particular process. Now the main purpose of the impeller is to cause the liquid to circulate through the vessel and eventually return to the impeller itself. Now the impellers may be of many different types. Depending on the direction of the induced flow, impellers are of two types. One is the axial flow, another is the radial flow. So axial flow impeller generate current parallel with the axis. The radial flow that generate current in a radial or tangential direction. So here you can see for a propeller, the current is generated along the axis, so in this direction. So this is axial flow. On the other hand, for the turbine, the liquids are pushed towards the side of the wall, and that's why that's called this radial flow. So propeller is an example of an axial flow impeller, and turbine is an example of a radial flow impeller. Now, depending on the liquid viscosity, different types of impellers are needed. So for low to moderate viscosity, propellers, turbines or high efficiency impellers are used. But for high viscosity liquids, there are special type of impellers called the helical impellers or the anchor agitators. These are commonly used. Here in this picture, we see some example of impellers. Number one is called a 3-blade turbine propeller. So this type of impeller induces both radial and axial motion. The second one is a simple straight blade turbine. This induces mainly radial motion. This one is a disc turbine. So there is a disc. There are a number of blades on the disc, and again this creates radial motion. There is concave blade CD6 impeller. This one here you see the same structure as this one. However, the blades are concave. And finally, there is this pitched blade. So this type of impeller induces both radial and axial motion. Now some more details about the propeller. Again, it induces axial flow. Typically, propellers are run at a high speed. Small propellers may be around 1100 to 1700 RPM. Large propeller from 400 to 800 RPM. The direction of the rotation forces the liquid downwards, and which traces out a helix in the liquid, and one full revolution move the liquid longitudinally a fixed distance, and the ratio of the distance liquid moves with one revolution to that of the propeller diameter is called the pitch, and when pitch is 1, that's called the square pitch. The most common type is the 3-blade with square pitch. They do not exceed around 18 inch in diameter. In some cases, 2 of the more propellers can be used on the same shaft. Now for turbine, these are a straight blade and it pushes the liquid radially and tangentially. Almost no vertical motion at the impeller for the straight blade turbine, and typical speed is between 20 to 150 RPM. For the disc type of turbine you have seen earlier, multiple straight blade mounted on a horizontal disc. This is useful for gas dispersion in a liquid, and blade may have different shape including the concave shape. There are pitched blade when overall circulation is important, meaning both radial flow and axial flow is needed. So some axial flow is added to the radial flow by making the blades to be slanted and creating what is called this pitched blade. There are some high efficiency impellers. Those are variations of the pitched blade impeller to provide more uniform axial flow and better mixing. The specialty of this type of impeller is the modified shape of the blades. Now here are some special impellers for highly viscous liquid. The first one is what is called this helical ribbon, and the second one is called this anchor impeller. So the helical ribbon is used for high viscous solution and it operates at low RPM in the laminar flow regime. The liquid moves in a tortuous flow path down the center and up. The diameter of the helix is very close to the diameter of the tank itself. So this type of impeller creates a flow path for the viscous liquid for well mixing. Now the purpose of anchor impeller is to provide good agitation near the floor and wall. It creates no vertical motion. It's less effective as in mixing. However, the main purpose of this type of impeller is to facilitate good heat transfer to and from vessel wall. So because the liquid is viscous, it has a tendency to cause deposits on the wall. That's why this type of impeller, having a diameter almost equal to the vessel diameter, what it does, it removes the materials from the wall surface and thus prevents the deposition on the wall. Examples are for starch paste, paints, adhesive and cosmetics. This type of anchor impeller is used. Now a little bit about the nomenclature, and we'll be consistently using the same nomenclature, and this is used in most literature on mixing and agitation equipment. The diameter of the vessel is denoted by dt. dA, this is one of the important dimension that will be used, is the diameter of the impeller, meaning the distance between the edges of the impellers. This E is the clearance, so from the center of the impeller to the bottom of the tank, this is called E. J is the width of the baffles. H is the level of fluid in the tank. And for the impeller itself, this dimension is known as length or L, and this dimension is known as the width. So you see this is the 4-blade turbine impeller. You can see the top view over here. There are 4 blades. Now in deriving the basic mathematical formulation for the impeller, there are some assumptions made. A turbine or propeller agitator is a pump impeller operating without a casing. So the theoretical development on pump impeller are used. However, for this case, we assume that the turbine or propeller, these are pump impeller operating without a casing. So the governing equations for centrifugal pumps are used in the derivation of the mathematical equations.